Hello again, everyone. We got another Topgun Chen 3D printed model. This is not to be confused with Hasegawa egg models. Some commenter thought that the F-14 was a Hasegawa. Those things are literally the size of an egg with wings on them, but these are much bigger. These are custom designed and 3D printed and stuff. They have far more detail. So they obviously cost a lot more as well. I'll leave a link to the Facebook of this person. I messaged that person, and the person doesn't have a store. I suggested he open a store on AliExpress, but he just seems to want to work with resellers on eBay. So you can look this stuff on eBay under Q version, like Q version airplane, and it's him and or he or she and a few other designers making these sort of things, which is nice to have. You know, it's cool that people don't have to have a company anymore to actually make decent products. Alright, so anyways, this came in another box, and then this is in here. I ordered 2 pilots, and it seems to, this person put them in there already. There's nothing under this foam. So far it looks like there's no damage, which is great. If you're curious, this is the little plastic stand that it comes with, but I have so many now, just use this one. Okay. So I'm going to talk about Wikipedia here. So Northrop Grumman apparently is the manufacturer of this E-2 Hawkeye. The Hawkeye, I guess, is the NATO code name, but correct me if I'm wrong. I've never served in the military. I don't know much about the military, so I'll leave it to the comments to correct me. Most of what I say on this channel is assumptions and guesses. Alright, so it was developed in the 50s and entered service in the 60s. As the E-2A, but then E-2B and E-2C were electronics upgrades, but then E-2D was a major upgrade where I believe they switched over to more efficient propellers, a lot more glass cockpit, a lot of electronic stuff. And essentially this thing is a flying air command center and radar center, so quite interesting. Let me fast forward to some stats here. Over 300 of these have been made. They're powered by these 2 Allison T56 turboprops, each of which makes over 5,000 shaft horsepower. That sounds like a lot. And then this is the only aircraft carrier-based command and control airplane. I don't think any other country has anything similar to this. Everything else is land-based, like Air Force, you know, taking off from runways, not aircraft carriers. In the year 2003, aboard the USS Nimitz, I believe one of these, a VAW-117, which is this, and it does say Nimitz there. Let's see, it was upgraded to these propellers, and then this thing is capable of tracking 2,000 targets simultaneously, and it can detect those 20,000 targets to a range of more than 400 miles or 640 kilometers. And it can simultaneously guide 40 to 100 air-to-air intercepts or air-to-surface engagements. There's only 5 people in this airplane, the 2 pilots, and then 3 people in the back doing all the coordination and detection. But that's a lot of power to be able to command or target or sense all these enemies and things. That's crazy to me. I had no idea. All I knew is it's a flying plane with a radome on it. That's what I knew before reading this Wikipedia. Okay, let me start getting into the model here. Or actually, let me try to find some images that looks like this. Alrighty, so VAW-117 is an airborne squadron that now works off the USS Abraham Lincoln as part of the 9th Carrier Air Wing. So I guess things have changed. And you'll also see this paint goes through several paint liveries. This airplane has gone through several paint liveries. You'll see this is totally different from that. And I saw one that was even different from those 2. So, but I believe these 3 are this airplane, possibly. These 2 definitely are, because it says 5649 on the tail. I don't know about the other 2, but this has a 600 that matches. Anyways, you get an idea. It's a pretty big, wide airplane, of course. But, you know, it's not as big as a commercial jet. Seems to be on the ground there, not an aircraft carrier. Let's get into this here. So, I'm going to do the flight mode first because I'm never going to display it without the landing gear. I kind of bought this because I already have an aircraft carrier deck, and it has room for 2 airplanes. I guess I should put the pilot in, one of these pilots in. Alright, let's take a closer look at this one here. So it's the same mold I'm accustomed to, and I paid extra to have these painted. They are 3D printed. I don't know what kind of material, if it's a resin vat printer, or if it's FDM, or maybe a combination of the two. I don't know. I guess it's not so important as long as it's a durable plastic, which it does seem to be. That's what my experience is, having drilled out a few holes. Okay, well anyways, nice paint job. This would take several hours for me to do, right? So, and then there's even like decals on the arms, very nice. And like the buckles, the inner shirt, very cool. And there's a nice little feature of these things are magnetic. There's magnets on both sides. And, well, there we go. So this part, I bought two different pilots. Technically they should be identical pilots, but I didn't want to pay for identical things. So I'm going for less accuracy and just having something different. So look at the expression on this thing. This dude's tired, I guess. Alright, well anyways, you got some sort of, I don't know, black things. What would those be? Radios on the helmet maybe? And then this thing pivots up and down, which is really neat. Some sort of decal work, it looks like, up there. Maybe some text, but I can't make it out. And then, oh, this is a jet fighter pilot. I think this is meant to go into like an F-14. But, again, just wanted to have something different. Alright, so this is the E-2C pilot. Kind of a frowny look. You can see there's some sort of indication of hair on the sides, which is really nice. It's a different helmet mold, it seems, as well. Okay. Not much on the back. Little stubs painted black. This black rim is painted. Right, again, indication of hair. There's a lot of effort going on here. And then this visor seems to have fallen off, but I guess you can put it back on. Boy, so small. So small. Alright, so it's just black on both sides. I think there's some holes here. Yeah, there's a hole there. And well, I guess it, okay, well, you can leave the visor up or down, but I kind of like the thing up because you can see the face. There's extra work there, why hide it? So this body inside, sorry, in there, I think it's the same mold again, just different paint job, just a plain green outfit, but still flag on the arm, not that side, but a different colored inner shirt. You know what, this is a different mold because this one has two hands in the up position. The fighter jet pilots only have one, you know, because it's a single flight stick, whereas this has a two-handed yoke. So it is a different mold. Okay. Which now makes me think I should have bought, you know, two of these pilots. But let's just see if this fighter pilot will fit in this cockpit. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's like standing up saying, hey, good job. Alright, so learn from your mistakes. Maybe you want to not get a fighter pilot into this plane. I feel like it's the hand is getting in the way. I'm gonna need some tweezers. Gotta get that hand past. Oh, there we go. Maybe, no. It's also a little bit wide, right? It's just not designed for this purpose. But can I make it work? Oh, that, we'll have to see if the cockpit clears. I kind of doubt it. I don't think I can get that pilot down any further. Anyhow, let me take this head off so we can see the rest of this cockpit while we're here. So there's a decal there, and there is actually a big decal on the dash there. Let me get a flashlight now. Yeah, so lots of colors on that decal with dozens of gauges. So that's nice, even though you won't really see that too often. And yeah, the flight controls look pretty nice as well. It's cool that it has like a door going back to that area. Now, I think those are print support structures. So, I have a suspicion this is FDM printed because those support structures are not round. But I might be wrong. I use Chibi, and Chibi always makes basically round, like cylindrical supports. But I know in FDMs they very often have like honeycomb kind of supports. So it's interesting. You know, maybe I don't know if the person should have taken those out or not, because maybe it's like I mean, it's not meant to be there, but it kind of gives it an interesting detail. I don't know. Your call. I'm okay with it, I guess. So this pilot, by the way, has like brown shoes. Maybe I won't get him out. Let's see if I have a different character. Hold on. So a while back, I bought a bunch of ground service equipment people. I painted these myself because I didn't want to pay to have them painted. It adds up, you know. So this one possibly might fit. I think this is the same body as the figures in my B-17 bomber. Oh yeah. So the beauty of the magnetic head. You know what? Maybe that's too plain. This one's better painted. Oh, this guy's standing up. Never mind. Hold on. It's this guy. Nah, that's not better either. You'll see. So my laziness, unfortunately, I don't have the patience to paint vests and shirts. So I guess we'll leave the yellow guy in there. By the way, this is going to be a long video if I didn't say that before. It's going to probably take an hour based on my past experience. Alright, possibly this will fit though. It seems lower than that roof. I don't know if the magnetic polarity is off on this. But that head doesn't seem to want to stick on. This works fine. The visor though. The visor's a little bit too wide. I'm afraid to bend it. I think it'll snap. I might need some poster putty. I'm going to pause and come back. Yeah, sadly, I put all these magnets in opposite of the way Topgun Chen does, so none of my civilians there are going to swap with this body. So I'm going to have this guy taking his kid out for a ride on an aircraft carrier plane. That's logical, right? So we have these two round magnets here and two round magnets on the cockpit itself. The cockpit frame is opaque, and then we have separate clear windows, of course. I don't know if they're 3D printed or hand casted. I'm not sure. I do feel like maybe they are printed because I think I can see some step lines in there. It looks really cloudy, you know, and wavy here, but I found in my experience you can still see the figures. So let's just there's a tab. You gotta probably put it in this way. So, well, yeah, not the clearest windows. Not sure if there's a better way to do that, really, if you don't have a company. This person makes these in the person's spare time. It's not a company, it's an individual. So we should be thankful that people are so enthusiastic. Very well, let's continue on. Let me get my dental pick. So we got some rescue decal there. I guess that's a rescue hatch up there. No idea what that star would mean, or Seattle Seahawks logo there. I don't even know what the 600 means. So again, I'll leave it to military experts to chime in. I don't have time to research stuff. I think I did 600 plus videos last year. I have a job, you know. I got things to do, so I don't research anything. I research buying toys. Some sort of compartments or light indications. Interesting there. There's a plus sign on the front end. Not sure why. And this oddly looks like an old stereo, like car stereo, two knobs, but I don't know what it is. We'll get it. Maybe they're lights. I think this may be a clear panel, and a bunch of lights are in the front nose of this thing, just based off the photographs. There's a big intake there, but it just goes all the way through. I assume that's not accurate. I assume it probably goes down, or what? I don't know. I don't know. So these propellers here, they spin quite freely, and then they have decals on the outer edges. And look at the edges themselves. They have like a raised section. Maybe those are for like impacts or something. I wonder if those are replaceable. You know, if it hits a bird or something, you can replace that instead of the whole propeller. Anyways, that one spins freely. That one, hold on, I'm gonna do the blow test. Let me hit focus. So if you like playing with your toys or your models, it's got you covered. Some sort of intake here to that turboprop. And then this also, it's all hollow in there. It's just all white in there. Yeah, okay. So I guess if you're motivated, you could put a paintbrush and paint that all dark, but I am not so motivated. Or you could add some detail in there as a separate piece, but the front tip of these cones is hollowed out for some reason. I do see that on the overhead flight picture, so that's accurate. Not sure why that would be there. Maybe it's a cooling duct or something. Oh, and this is interesting. This is very spaced out. Oh, I just pushed it in, so be mindful of that. That also means... Okay, so if you wanted to, yeah, you could go and add some detail in there, but I am not. That's interesting that these wouldn't be in a separate bag. Oh look, the back of the propeller also has decals. That's a lot of work. I only hope these decals are under a clear coat. I don't know about these, but it looks like on the body that they are, but we'll see as we continue around the... You know what, maybe I'll just leave that off because we can see more of what's going on here. The propeller warning line, a whole bunch of rectangular shapes for some reason. And then, I don't know what those red boxes would be. And what else do we have? Can we read any of this text, I wonder? I'm magnified 4 times. I cannot read the text. This one, yellow something. Nope, I can't read it. I'm using a phone here, so the screen isn't too big. Maybe I'll see it when I review this video myself. Jet blast, danger, walk. And look at this. There's a decal or something representing the inside of the wing. And there's a magnet here because you can pose it in different ways apparently. Some sort of... Nope, I can't make that text out. It looks backwards. But, look. To the naked eye, you would never read that. Alright, so this is legible though. Rescue again. Ooh, that's bothersome. I don't know. I think that could be on top of the clear coat. See, this looks like it's faded in nicely, so it might be under the clear coat. Registration number maybe. Not sure that shape or this shape or that, what those would be. And then we have the hook, so it can catch, you know, one of those lines when it's landing on an aircraft carrier deck. And as you see, it'll go up and down. That's kind of neat. And it's even got all these black lines, which I assume are decals. Alright, we have a bunch of antennae there, and we have maybe a 3mm hole, maybe. I've had to drill out other ones. This decal is terminated nicely. I don't know what this round thing would be. Probably some sort of radar or sensor on the airplane. Okay, these pretty much look symmetric as far as these decals are. Oh wait, this hatch though, I don't think I was... Did I see that on the last side? No, I didn't. Oh, so this is quite asymmetric. There's some sort of box with an intake, some sort of motor, and then we have some viewports. Or this side doesn't have such. So I would have to assume maybe on the inside of this airplane all the electronics are here, and maybe the people are sitting on this side and they can look out the windows or something, and maybe this is like an air conditioner or heater or both to keep that cabin at a nice temperature. Alright, well, going to the top area. So this is nice. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, so that belongs over in there. Ooh, I see. Wow. I'm gonna have to crazy glue that in. But now it made this metal piece fall off here. I'm gonna have to mess with that later. Let me come back again. So that piece is very loose. That hole is very loose. So I had to apply crazy glue 3 different times. And I also crazy glued one of those metal pieces back. But eventually, hopefully it won't fall out. Anyways, just be mindful. You might have to use a thicker glue. I have a suspicion this person's using the same kind of glue that puts like resin cars together. I don't know what it is though. It's like a gelatinous. It's not silicone glue, but it has those properties where it'll stretch a little bit like rubber. It's not like a brittle glue, but I don't know what it is. Maybe one day I'll message the person on Facebook or something. Yeah, just making sure that's in place. All right, let's continue on. The top of the wings, we got some decals there, and then the side of this support for the radome, there's some decals as well. Some panel gaps filled in with like some paint wash, it looks like. And even under the radome, you can see those black lines. Those are physical grooves with paint wash in them. The top, same thing, but also we have this funky stylized eagle, I assume. It looks almost like a old Native American symbol. Maybe it is, I don't know. Again, leave it to a commenter. Alright, so the rear horizontal and vertical stabilizers is a big decal going across. The flaps there have grooves in them as well. And then this back end here, I don't know what any of that means. I instinctively want to say New Hampshire, but I don't think it's that. And then, is that the registration number? I don't know, because there's a bigger number, a longer number there where I'm touching, so beats me. It also has that eagle logo. Okay, so you can see those wings are canted in. Interesting. Okay, I gotta get those flight hatches on. So the front, there's a decal there. There's also an antenna sticking out, and there's a big and small peg, and there's a magnet. Luckily, because it actually has this antenna, you can pull on that to get it out, because this seam is so tight. I don't think you're gonna, I don't know. Let's see if we can get, I don't think you're gonna be able to pry it out. I almost feel like this peg is unnecessarily long, because if the magnet does its job, it's really just to locate it. In fact, it doesn't even really need the pins at all, because it's a recessed panel. Right? Yeah, there's really no reason to have these pins. Maybe I'll cut them off later. I don't know if it's getting... Where's my hobby knife? I feel like maybe one of these support structures is maybe also keeping it from laying flat. Or possibly these pins. I don't feel like it's recessing as well as it should be. This is a very strong plastic. I feel like if this is the cheaper vat resin that I use, this hobby knife would be cutting into the plastic. But it seems to be only really taking off the paint right now. Let's see if that allows it to sit more flush. It does sit pretty flush. Yeah, I guess if it really bothers you, you could just trim off those pegs and it would still be fine, because as long as this thing is here, you should be able to get it out. Alright, let's see. Here's a panel here. Again, it's got a locator and a magnet, but I just don't think that locator is so necessary, but I guess it's just there for the landing gear anyways. So these are not sitting so flush. I also feel if I push them in, they might be hard to get out. So I'm going to come back again after I trim off all these pegs. Yeah, so I'm trying to get these flush, and I realized if I did this with my vat resin, it would crack. But this stuff is cutting away, almost like model kit plastic, styrene. I don't think it is styrene, but see? It's not cracking. It's this very strong plastic, which is nice to know. I don't think you want to drop this model, but there's actually a chance it might survive. It wouldn't shatter like the cheap liquid resin stuff that I use in my 4K Frozen Sonic. Alright, so see, that's nice and flush. And what's smart is there's a little bit of a gap there, so you can actually take your fingernail and get that panel off nice and easy. But yeah, I'm going to have to go and trim the other panels now that I know it can be done. Okay, so those hatches are fine now. Can still release. I took off a bunch. Because the magnet still, this flat spot rests against that, I think. So I guess the only issue is maybe if you trimmed off this back one, it might sink in. Like if you totally trimmed them off, maybe if you push that in, it would actually sink into the recess. But anyways, so next we gotta put the wings on. I'm not sure, yeah, there's a left or right. There must be, but where's the hole? Yeah, this is the wrong side. It's gotta be this one. It's a little out of alignment, unfortunately. Let's try this side, see how this one looks. There's actually an angle here. Yeah, oh, maybe I did have it right. I don't know. Let's try this one this way first. And then I'll swap them again, but I almost feel this is the way it's supposed to be. This one works a lot better. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. So this number is on the top right side of the plane. Flag is on the top left. Yeah, alright. I suppose if you really want, well, I don't know if you could correct that easily or not. You'd have to drill out the hole, and I don't know if there's there is a magnet there and a magnet here, so I suppose if that hole was drilled a little bit more in this angle, maybe that would straighten it out. But I'm going to just leave it for the way it is for now. Alright, let's see if this hole is the correct size. Yeah, pleasantly, it is a 3mm, slightly bigger than 3mm. And it does, amazingly, it doesn't collide with that antennae. I'm quite shocked. I almost feel like still the hole might want to be a little more forward, or maybe just lose one of the antennae. So I suppose now would be a good time to tell you roughly how long it is. If I had to guess, the wingspan is somewhere around 140 millimeters, or like 5.5 inches. Alrighty, let's let this go for a spin in flight mode. I guess that speed's good enough. Let me get a flashlight under there. Yeah, very neat. Hey, that side cockpit's fine. It's just the big scratches in the front. The side windows seem pretty good to see the characters. So yeah, there's nothing in the back of the exhaust of the engine there. It's just all white plastic in there. Might be worth putting some black paint in there. It's a little distracting. That arrestor hook. You might want to put some putty up in there if you're going to have in flight mode. Okay, let's now display it with the gear down. Oh boy, sorry, this camera's fidgety, the mount. Guess let's remove that. Be mindful of those metal wires. Get my fingernail underneath this thing. Nice. Pull the antenna. Nice. This panel gap's actually quite tight. Or I just shouldn't have cut my fingernails recently. Well, might have to jam a toothpick in there. There we go. If you don't want to scratch the paint. Okay, so I'll just rest this upside down. So front landing gear, we have the panels painted the same gray, a whole bunch of mechanism and linkages. And this one has 3D printed wheels. I think the F14 literally had decals for the wheel details, which is really odd, I think. But these look much better. There's even a little silver paint there in the little stanchion. Alright, so this goes up towards the front, I guess, the peg. Alright, so that fits in fine. So the rear, oh, we even have decals on the panels of the rear doors there. And look at those linkages. And again, silver down there. And again, nice. Oh, wait a second. Those are decals, those black dots. But it still has this hub center, an axle center sticking up. These are 3D printed tires. They're not soft, but they're well done. I couldn't even tell at first. I couldn't see the step lines. A lot of nice details here. Boy, which way it goes? I assume the tire goes to the outside. Alright, that fits in fine. Oh, wait. Okay. That fits in fine as well. I'm wrong as usual. The tires do face inwards, as you can see. But whatever. It's an easy swap. Just swap them over. So I had bought this stand in the last order I did, I think. And I spray painted it with a Rust-Oleum Hammertite. This is a separate piece I bought myself. It's a steel plate. I don't want these things ever running the risk of falling over. So that weight is gonna outweighs the model itself. So it's a safe way to go. I'm using silicone glue to glue those things together. Alright, so now I guess the last bit is storage mode, which I think I can probably do while it's on the stand here. Although actually it doesn't make sense that it would be flying with the wings folded. So you'll see, oh, you maybe don't want to drill out those holes because there's literally two holes stacked up on each other. See, so that wing does that. This wing folds up like that. There, so now it's in storage mode to fit more on an aircraft carrier. So it's quite interesting. This thing literally has its wings folded as is a... I guess it has to, right? Because it's so big, it would knock out our planes around. So that's, I just never knew that. And then this plane is quite celebrated. It literally says world famous 5649. So is this the most popular Hawkeye airplane? I don't know. It seems to be quite popular. Several different liveries. So here we are with some of the GSC equipment. I 3D printed my own giant bombs to fit that rack thing. There would never be a person just hanging out on a ladder, by the way, on an aircraft carrier, but this is my fictional cartoon world. And I have a separate video on the Topgun F14. But I believe these two planes could have been on an aircraft carrier at the same time. Topgun Chen does make F-18s, but I don't think an F-18 and an F-14 would have ever flown together. But it would have flown with this, you know, on an aircraft carrier deck, I think. So I can't make this spin around. My booth isn't that big. Alright, well, as usual, it's pretty awesome. Quite happy to have it. I guess the only issue maybe that could have been better is, you know, maybe that windscreen could have been a little clearer. I've gotten used to having to trim off paint and stuff like that. Maybe some tolerances are too tight or too loose, and I think that's just the way it's going to be. As mentioned, this is not a company. This is one person that just likes airplanes and makes them in their spare time. So I'm just thankful this person does it. So you can try to contact on Facebook or just search eBay and see if you can find one. There are unfinished models. You can save a lot of money and just paint it yourself. and you know, have the satisfaction of making something nice. Okay, thanks for watching. Again, right now I don't know if I'm going to buy any more. I don't have room to collect such large models. This might seem small to you, but I have thousands of models, so I have to be mindful. But I will say the person also has those J-16 and the things that are the Chinese equivalent of the flanker Russian airplanes, like the Su-27 and 31 and 33 or whatever they are. So it's possible those would be the next planes I would be interested in purchasing, but I don't know when, if at all. Thanks for watching. I also have a bunch of these Hasegawa model kits here. Let me pull one out here. I probably have 30 to 50 model kits just sitting in this room that I have to get around to building. It's just that painting models and prepping them, you know, filling in seams takes a long time. So this egg plane series, which I've never built, I'm looking at them and you can see inside it's roughly the size of an egg, and then they just tack on wings and stuff like that. They are definitely less detailed. These things are like $10, $15 or something at retail. So this thing, the plain model kit alone cost a lot more. So you get what you pay for. But I gotta say, off the initial impression is this actually does look pretty nice. There still are panel details and stuff. It's just that I gotta get it. I'm really afraid of painting the cockpit as well, having overspray. That could be painful. So we'll have to see. And then I'll eventually get around to these. The SR-71 is going to be sweet. That's going to be sweet. I don't really care about those two. I think I just bought them for like cheap. And the Osprey will be interesting. But it'll come in time. So please don't get confused at the pricing of this. It is not being made by Hasegawa. Nothing against this brand. But this is a totally different... This is like Hot Wheels. This is like a resin 64 scale model. That's the way I'd put it. I guess this is... What's the ones that open up? Those resin ones. I forget. I don't collect opening panel 164 scale cars. Not a fan of them. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next deformed airplane video. Bye now.